Hello, everyone. Welcome to this first episode of Unknowingly Madridistas. Um, what is this? Is basically going to be what some people are going to be questioning. Um, and it's a safe space for kind of express feelings. As Madrid fans, but it's English as well, so a little bit different. Basically, what I want to get from this is cover some important bits about the club, every couple of bits per episode. Each episode isn't going to be long. We'll have a couple of bits to pick up, and then we'll kind of go from there, really. But there's the obvious bits I want to talk about today, and then these, I think I'm going to do these weekly on top of doing match previews when obviously the World Cup and that ends. And obviously we go into pre-season and the season in just next month, actually. We do know our first game of the season at Sociedad has been delayed because we will have at least one player in the World Cup final, which incredible. But yeah, I just want I don't know how far this is going to go, but match previews, talk about player news, injuries, updates, match reviews, all that sort of stuff is going to be on here. And these will be weekly, unless there's like a match day, then we'll see from there, really. But it is important to recognise that as of next season, I want to do a lot more watch alongs. So I know I did one against Valencia. That was the I think it was 4-0 we won. But yeah, let's jump straight into it. We'll start off by talking about the new signings, where I think they'll lie within Jose Mourinho's system, and what I think their future is. Well, I'll go. Who was first confirmed? I think first confirmed was Canate. I think he's a much needed centre back. With obviously Militao being very injury prone, Dienhausen hasn't quite yet hit the level he should be at. Rudy is quite injury prone nowadays as well, can be quite unreliable. Asensio, his future's not certain, which we'll talk about later on. And then you have, well, Alaba's obviously left his contract. You have a couple of the youth guys. Again, we'll come back onto them. But I think it's a much needed transfer, Canate. I do think he will be a starter, but I think he has to get it right from game one. He has to get it all right. If he can't show signs of weakness. He can, but we can't have him making a lot of mistakes, if that makes sense. But I do think he's a much needed signing. He gives us a bit of aggression. Does he have that passion? You could be asking. I'm most certainly am asking. But I think he gives us what we need, and I mean we'll see on a contract 4 years. It will do. He may not even see out the full 4 years. Who knows? But we'll see. It really depends on the situations for Hausen, Militao, because I think with Canate he's sort of a mid-term sort of player. I think he does his 4 years, he moves on, an academy guy comes in. You know what I mean? So I think he's a much needed centre back, and it gives us that bit of experience. He's played alongside Van Dijk, which is amazing, really. Our second signing was, I think that was confirmed to be Cucurella, or was Bernardo Silva. It was one of the two. But we'll talk about Cucurella. Left backs have been hit and miss, really. Mendy's always injured. Fran's always been a second option. Carreras is. He didn't do badly to begin with last season, but then he kind of just dipped and dipped. He lost form, confidence, trust of managers, and then that was it. Really, he just kind of fell out of line. That he's been rumored to go to Chelsea, but they've signed that Pep guy from Vallecano. I do think Carreras will stay. I doubt he'll leave, but it's surely going to be number two behind Cucurella, who I think is up there and one of the best left backs in the world. Obviously, Mendy's always injured. I mean, he'll be injured for pretty much the whole season. So you could say it's a much needed signing. And again, it's a mid sort of, because they're both 27, Konate and Cucurella. They're both very mid-term sort of players. Cucurella could do 4 years at the club. He moves on. Carreras would be, 27 as well by that point. Youth guys coming, you never know what the youth's going to look like in 4 years. But at the moment, there's such a demand that we will come on to that later on. Then obviously it was Bernardo Silva, who on a free at his age, seriously not that bad, 31. I just think it's a great bit of business for a free. He gives us what we need: experience, something on the left hand side, someone that's very versatile. He might not necessarily start every game, but he gives us what we need. He gives us that flair in the midfield. He's very technical. He doesn't hold back to put a ball in. He's a midfielder that we needed since Cruz sort of left. So I think Bernardo Silva is. I think he's a short-term player, Bernardo Silva. I can see him only staying for about 2 years, but 2 years is all we need. And those 2 years, players like Thiago Pitach will be able to evolve. And by the time Bernardo Silva's left, Pitach is ready for regular playing every game from there. Obviously, most recently was Denzel Dumfries from Inter Milan. Again, it's probably a short-term thing, but he gives us experience, and under Mourinho, that's what he needs. Is the experience, because we lacked a lot of it last season. When players like Trent were injured, Carver Howe wouldn't even be fit, and would have to go with a makeshift right back. Sometimes Valverde would have to go right back, Asensio going to right back. So he sort of solidifies that right back position where Trent and Dumfries can alternate every now and then. So I think Dumfries is a fantastic player going forward. He's one of the best attacking fullbacks in the world. I mean, look what he done at Inter Milan. He wasn't shy to get a goal or an assist. So his experience is going to be much needed. So that's the 4 signings that we've made. Could cover Endrick, coming back from loan, but he was always with us anyway. I mean, if Paz was staying, I'd covered him a bit more, but he's obviously staying at Como. But that brings us on to... Well, I'll just finish up on the signings. I think the business has been fantastic. Do we need to sign any more? In my opinion, no. There's rumours that we're looking at Bastoni, which is from Mario Cortegana, but it's not like it's not green light sort of. Here we go from Fabrizio Romano is imminent. It's more, there's a possibility, but it's low. I think it's low. I don't think it will happen, because I think when you look at the left hand side of the defence, and then you look towards the youth academy, there is some real talent there, and that's why I think with Alaba's departure, this is a great opportunity to get a youth player in there, who can be the backup on the left hand side. Because I'm weird. I like a left-footed centre back. I don't like playing a right-footed centre back at left defence. If you get what I mean. I think Dean Housen is capable of it. He's very versatile. Housen, actually, he can play both feet, which is really important. But the backup can be a left-footed centre back. The backup doesn't have to be Rudiger. It doesn't have to be Militao. I think it has to be someone capable of playing on the left-hand side, so a left-footed centre-back. Because when Rudiger played there, weak. When Militao's played there, he's been weak. Konate's been kind of playing there for Liverpool, and he's not been... I mean, not been the greatest on that side. But I think every defence needs a left-footed centre-back, always. And as I say, you look towards the youth academy, there are two very noticeable names, well, three very noticeable names: Joan Martinez, Victor Valdepeñas, and Diego Aguado. All three very capable of being backups. I do think, however, if Jose Mourinho were to pick one right this second, I do think it would probably be Aguado. Valdepeñas strikes me as a player to go on loan. Juan Martinez stays in the youth academy for one more year. But that's what I would do anyway, because the versatility of someone like Aguado, if we're in an injury crisis on left back and there's no fit left back, he goes to left back. He can play left centre back. He made his debut against Elche. He even played a game like last year back in 2025. Right at the start, it was a cup match where we won like 4-0 or something. He played in that. I distinctly remember him being decent, comfortable. He's a very calm player on the ball. And they're currently in the he's currently with the Spain under-19 squad in Wales at the moment, who are playing tomorrow, but at the time this video will be up, it'll be today, later on today. Along with other players such as Javi Navarro, who is obviously the goalkeeper, who was incredible in the under-19 youth league. Jesus Voltaire, Juan Martinez is also there. Mario Rivas, Thiago Pitarch, and Daniel Yanez. I don't think I've missed anyone. So, there are players there that can break into the first team, which is bringing me on to the Under-19 Championships, which I wanted to talk about because there's so many players there to talk about. Javi Navarro, I think, is a really potential opportunity to have him as the Courtois replacement, if you must, when Courtois decides it's time to retire. But I don't think he's anywhere near that point. I think he's still got a solid 2-3 years left in him, maybe longer. Hence why Lunin hasn't been getting chances. Hence why Fran Gonzalez, who is ultimately our third choice goalkeeper, only played one game with the main team against Valencia last season. It just goes to show how good Courtois really is. Even at his age, which I think he's about 36 now. I might be wrong with that. I can't remember. But Javi Navarro is a potential opportunity as a Courtois replacement. Spanish. It kind of has that Casillas thing about him. Forteo, of course, with the, you look at the ages of Trent, who is 27, 28, Dumfries, who's 30. Forte is only 19 still. There's again, he's a really good opportunity to break into the first team within 2-3 years. Whether it's Trent that goes first or whether it's Dumfries that goes first. Jesus Forte has a great opportunity lined up. And I'm all for a youth academy. I prefer youth academy players to break in rather than making more signings, which I think some will be on the same side as, but I think some would be saying, no, we need more superstars. And that's purely because we've been trophyless for 2 years now. But I would be saying, if Jose Mourinho was saying, look, I really want Bastoni, I wouldn't know why he'd be saying that to me. But I'd be saying back, you need to, prioritize the youth. The youth are incredible. I think Pitarch, Aguado, and Yanez, 3 superb players who I think in 5 years' time, off the top of my head, in 5 years' time, looking at a lineup for Real Madrid, I can see them free featuring. And I don't say that just because it might make them feel better, although they probably won't even watch this video. Why would they? But the reason I say that is because of the talent they have. Aguado at the back is very versatile. 5'11" can play centre back. Can play left back if he must. Left back, he's decent. He goes forward with the ball well. Petarch in the midfield is fantastic. He made a couple of mistakes in his first year, but show me a player who's come into the youth academy halfway through a season and hasn't made a single mistake. You couldn't find me a player. And Yanez, he got an assist. I think it was Dean Housen's goal against Elche. So there's another player. Players like Palacios and Manuel Angel, David Jimenez, and Fran Gonzalez are all going to be leaving. So now is an opportunity to start looking at the youth who deserve this opportunity. And I said it on Twitter to some guy yesterday. The youth are the future of this club. They always will be the future of this club. You can't go into a season without any youth products. Otherwise, it's not Real Madrid. Real Madrid is built off youth products. Look at Casillas, Carvajal, Ramos. I know we signed him from Sevilla, but still, he came up young. There's so many players who, Asensio. I know he didn't hit the heights he should have, but Asensio still came through the academy. Look at what Vinicius is doing. He was brought into the academy, but hey ho. Valverde also brought into the academy. Look what he's doing. So there's so many names there. Even way more. Go back through the years, there's way more that have succeeded so well at this club that the team lives off the youth players, and the qualities that players like Yanez, Pitarch, and Aguado have are the qualities that Real Madrid need and always have needed. And I think, what was it, last season? No, it was season before last, 24-25, where we had the injury crisis, and it was the defense, the injury crisis, and we were being. I still can never get over that season. It just hurts me that season even happened. Valverde was going to right back a lot. Chouameni playing centre back. Don't even remind me. But Camavinga left back. It was the worst. That was the opportunity to bring in the youth class. I know some of them were like 17 at the time. But even this season, when we've had Rudiger out, we've had Militao out, there's been that opportunity, and I think Jose Mourinho has to be the one. I know Arbeloa gave some of them the opportunity, and if Arbeloa does go to Fulham, I could see him signing quite a number of the youth players. Palacios, Manuel Angel, easily doesn't break into the Fulham first team, but easily gets to that Fulham team, and they'll thrive. They will thrive. Give them a couple of years, and they will be great players. Mourinho at all costs needs to protect players like Pitarch, players like Aguado, players like Yanez and Fortea, because if he lets any of them go, we're in deep trouble. Yes, I know there's Florentino Perez is what he's like with his buyback clauses, but I think these are three players that you cannot afford, you cannot risk doing it with, because they are the future of this club. Like 10 years time, I want to see one of them lifting the Champions League trophy as the captain. But yeah, Spain under 19s are in the semi-finals. I was about to say round of 16, but there's not even that many groups. I think it was only 2 groups. They've been incredible. I think they've got like a 14 goal difference, which is insane. So I shall watch that tomorrow. I think it's at 4:30. It's 2. It's 2 or 4:30. I think it's 4, but nonetheless I'll watch it. Show my appreciation. So there you have it. I think the youth are more than ever. This is their opportunity, and I definitely do not think we should be looking at signing players like Bastoni, because he's not needed. Yes, you'd obviously be saying Bastoni is a better centre back than Aguado at the moment. Anyway, But when you've got a player with Aguado's qualities, you go for him, don't you? With how versatile he is, you just go for him. You need the youth academy players. That there it is. It's right in front of you. So I don't think we should be looking at Bastoni. That's my take on it anyway. So the potential departures then is an interesting one because there's so many players that are in question to leave that I think there's so many it won't even all happen. Lunin's been in question, but I don't think it will happen. I don't think we have time to be searching in the market for a backup goalkeeper. Asensio, I think, is a player who will leave. It's a shame because I think he was destined to be the next Ramos. But I hate saying that about players that they were meant to be the next so and so because I think it just puts them under so much pressure that you like it fails them, and it's happened all over the years. This guy's going to be the next Messi. This guy's going to be the next Ronaldo, and they've all failed because they've been thrown under that much pressure that it's almost impossible. Because with media saying this player's meant to be the next Ronaldo, your expectations are to be Ronaldo. You're meant to be better than him in a way, which just isn't happening. Like that doesn't happen. So yeah, there you go. Asensio. I don't know how we made it from Ronaldo to Asensio to Ronaldo, but Asensio is a player expected to leave. I think he should because he is not going to get. I mean, he's fifth choice centre back is not great. Third choice on right back. He just ain't getting the minutes that he deserves. I think he plays better next to an experienced centre back that can build him up. Like if he went to a Liverpool and played next to Van Dijk, he would be excellent because Van Dijk with experience covers. That's what Asensio needs. Or he stays in Spain, mid-table to Europa League-ish club like a Sociedad. Only they finished like 10th last season. A Villarreal, but they're fine with their centre backs. But you get what I mean. Someone like a club like that is where he can grow and be a La Liga classic. You know what I mean? Like Raul Albiol. I know he left to go to Serie A, but Vivian, those sort of players is what he can be. Inigo Martinez. That is what Raul Asensio can become. But yeah, he's in line to leave. Two more players in line to leave. I don't think that this one's gonna happen though. It's Mendy. You're not gonna get rid of an injured Mendy. Do I? They would consider terminating the contract. You could, or it's just whether he wants to retire Mendy, which I think would be fair enough if that's what he wants to do. He's a very injury-prone player. When he's fit, world class, one of the best left backs up there. But it's a shame he's been riddled with injuries. But then a player who probably I can see leaving probably wouldn't do that bad in the Prem, but I doubt it now with Iraola at Liverpool is Fran Garcia. Doubt Liverpool are going to sign Fran Garcia. They could as a backup, but I don't think he's going to want to go somewhere as a backup again. I think he's going to want first team football. But there's a few clubs he could go to in the Premier League still. Arbeloa gave him a couple of chances. Could he end up at Fulham if Arbeloa gets the Fulham job? I could see it. Only they've got Robinson, so I doubt he'd break into the team. But there's so many Spanish clubs that could pick him up. But he is a player in question to leave. Anywhere, like he could play anywhere in terms of leagues, not positions. He can play anywhere. Literally, I think if there's some clubs in the Premier League he would thrive for. Ligue 1, I'm not gonna lie, I don't really watch Ligue 1. Same with Bundesliga, I don't really watch Bundesliga. I mean, sometimes. Serie A is perfect for his sort of character. Likes to go forward with the ball. Probably perfect for him. Or he just stays within Spain. 15 million, if that, is yours. Another player expected to leave is Aurelien Tchouameni. Insane, by the way, because I'm mixed with Tchouameni because I feel like yes, he has improved since he's joined, but I think at the minute he's for the past 2-3 seasons I think he's been a very stale player. Like, I don't think he's got a world class quality to him. There, I've said it. I don't think he's world class. I think he's quality, but I don't think he's world class. And it's been like that for the past 2 to 3 seasons now. There's been, he's played as a backup in his first season. But for the past 2-3 seasons, I just don't think he's been all that. Yes, he's played at centre back a couple of times, and that's not his position. You can tell whenever he goes at centre back, it all falls apart in the midfield. But I don't know, if I was behind this, if I was in Perez's shoes or Mourinho's shoes, I would sell Tchouameni. Not because I don't like him, because I love Tchouameni. I love the energy he has, the passion. But purely because I don't think he's getting anywhere. I don't think he's going to improve. I don't think he's going to develop the way he should. There is talks that Manchester United are willing to go big for him. If they come in, Man United with 100 million, somehow, although their Ugate's now injured. But if they came in with 100 million, I'd be saying yes, have him. I think we're lucky to get 100 million for him. I think 70 is probably what we would be looking at realistically. It's something I would say yes to anyway, 70 million. But I'm sort of on the spectrum to where I would sell Tchouameni. I hope I hope he doesn't go, has another season, and becomes world class, becomes the best DM in the world. But I just can't see it. I just don't think he's improving, and I think it's time for his departure. Another player, Camavinga, another French midfielder. Again, I just don't think he's getting the minutes he should. I don't see him developing as a player at the moment. I think he's being held back. It's like he started like it's like he might show us a stint where he is quality and he can break into the team, but then just out of nowhere he's just been held back by whoever the manager is. He gets a series of games where he looks promising, benched for 3 games straight, and then it's just a cycle there. And people are obviously still frustrated with him for the Bayern red card. For those that are, just get over it. It's done now. But again, I think if I was in the shoes of Perez or Mourinho and I had to make the decision to whether to let Camavinga go, I probably would say, yeah, Camavinga, off you go. Because I don't see him developing. He hasn't been improving as of late. And it's concerning. It really is. 2 fantastic midfielders, they're getting on a bit. I'm not saying they're hitting like their 30s or anything, but they've been at the club for, I think, Camavinga now 5 years, Tchouameni 4. Is it time to call it a day? They've both got a Champions League under them, but Camavinga has 2. They've got a Champions League title each. They've got a La Liga title each. They have it. I just don't see Camavinga with the signing of Bernardo Silva. I do not see Camavinga starting at all. He's probably going to be the backup for Bernardo Silva. Or if Bernardo Silva doesn't even play, he's the backup to a backup. And he doesn't play left back. Not for me. If we were in a crisis where we needed a left back, it would not be Camavinga. I'd be saying youth academy. So yeah, there you have it. I'd definitely be selling Tchouaméni and Camavinga because I just don't think they're improving the way they should be. Other players looking at leaving as well is Brahim. It's an interesting one, Brahim, because he's not someone that goes and gets us 10 goals a season. He's lucky to get 5. Depends really if it's an injury crisis. But he can rack up assists. He can, he's technical. He can drive the ball forward. And he makes a really good backup. He makes a really good player off the bench. And he loves the club, and you can see it in him every time he plays. He really just wants to do well, and he knows he's kind of the second choice, but he always seems to play. And I don't even think he puts bad performances in. It's just the way he plays does not suit Madrid, but yet he plays so well to fit the style. Again, if I was on behind his decision, behind his future, I would be saying sell, because if Mourinho likes Mastantuono and Gula's going to be playing at right wing, then for me, Brahim does not get anywhere near the team at all. Another player they say that will leave is Gonzalo Garcia. I'd hate this transfer if that went through. Gonzalo Garcia. It's an interesting one because you can't have Gonzalo as a third choice striker. Endrick, do you put him at right wing? Gula and Mastantuono are already there. Gonzalo's not a left winger. Could you put Endrick at left wing? Probably not. So therefore, I would loan Gonzalo with no option to buy. That's hard to get internationally, but in La Liga, I think you could easily do that. An option, a loan with no option to buy, because I think, again, he's a player that could succeed. It really depends on what Endrick does, so I would definitely be looking at loaning Gonzalo Garcia next season. And for Endrick, I would just be looking at how Endrick does. If Endrick plays 10 games, 10, 15 games, most of them off the bench, made about 4 starts, I'd be saying cash in on Endrick and make Gonzalo the backup. That's what I do. So you can't make Gonzalo the third choice striker. He scored a hat trick last year. He got crucial goals last year. He just doesn't. He cannot go as a third choice striker for me. No way. So yeah, there you have it. I don't think there's anyone else in questions leave. I've probably missed one. No, me. Sabia's already gone, so can't really talk about him. You could say the youth players after the U19 Championship. Mourinho is apparently watching it, currently keeping a close eye on it. Is he? He might be. Who knows? Or is he just getting someone to watch it for him and just give him a whole? Is he getting someone to watch it for him? They give him a list of notes, and then that's it. Who knows? I definitely don't think he should be selling it any of. But I think it is players like Manuel Angel and Palacios and David Jimenez and Fran Gonzalez who are the ones that will leave and that should leave, because if they want regular minutes, I doubt they're going to get it. I really doubt they're going to get it under Mourinho. So yeah, the future of this show series, I guess, I'm still kind of figuring it all out. As I say, I want it to be a weekly thing rather than every couple of days. So otherwise, would there be nothing to talk about? Would just be making up fake news. So I think we should just be doing a weekly thing, and whenever there's a match, we might just do a quick 10-minute match preview, and after the match, and again just another a match review. But even then, we don't even have to do it on YouTube. That could go up as a shorts, that could go up on TikTok, Instagram Reels, somewhere like that. But watch alongs I definitely want to happen. But yeah, these are going to be sort of weekly. We'll pick up all the news that there is. This one obviously was just talking about the main regular stuff. Next episode, which will be next week, given I go along with this, it'd be talking about those that are going to be at the World Cup final. Is it going to be France? Is it going to be Morocco? Is it going to be Belgium, Spain, England, Argentina? We'll definitely be talking about that next week. If there's any other important news by then, we'll also talk about that as well. So obviously the Under-19 Championships actually this weekend, so that'll be something to talk about as well. But yeah, on this channel, I'll see if I can watch all that as well. By the way, we might not. I don't know. But yeah, there you have it. We'll be back next week. Hope you all enjoyed. I don't know how this is going to do. Hopefully it succeeds. But yeah, hope you all enjoyed. And I will catch you all in the next episode, whenever that may be. Or next video. Yeah. Peace.